starts.
All right, black and white sports supporters. Well, my goodness, I got to give Caitlin Clark fans a lot of credit. Y'all did not miss. You did not miss. A lot of people, a lot of slows on the Twitter and on the social media space right now doing their little victory laps over that scam known as Unrivaled's greatest basketball day in the history of women's anything.
Caitlin Clark fans just delivered one of the most savage reality checks in WNBA social media history. And the target? Unrivaled's so-called historic attendance record. 21,000 fans showed up to watch a 3-on-3 basketball game in Philadelphia. And immediately the victory laps started. The problem? Those fans did their homework. And what they uncovered exposes something way bigger than just inflated attendance numbers.
You know, there was a volleyball game at Nebraska, women's, that drew 92,000 fans. Is that something I shouldn't bring up, or unrivaled? Too soon for me to bring that up, because you got people doing the largest attendance ever for a women's sporting event. No, false.
Here's the context everyone's conveniently ignoring. On August 30th, 2024, the Nebraska women's volleyball team drew 92,000 fans to Memorial Stadium. 92,000 for volleyball. So when Unrivaled started celebrating their 21,000 as the largest attendance for a women's sporting event, the receipts came out fast. But that Nebraska number isn't even the most devastating comparison. Not even close.
Shady bullshit. Excuse my language. Because if you don't think for a second that politically driven corporations didn't get involved in this, if you don't think they didn't find a way to give out tickets to everything they possibly could to get as many people, and look, I don't doubt that there was a lot of people there. I doubt, how did they get there? How did they acquire the ticket? All right. What happens? Corporations buy a pool of tickets. Celebrities buy pools of tickets. I heard that a WNBA player...
Because here's where the skepticism gets justified. Corporate ticket purchases. Celebrity bulk buys. One WNBA player reportedly purchased 60 tickets. For friends and family, 60 from a single player. When you start seeing those kinds of numbers, you have to ask the obvious question. How many people actually paid market price to watch that game? How many tickets got distributed through channels that have nothing to do with genuine fan demand? And here's what makes this particularly suspicious. Philadelphia, in February, isn't exactly beach weather. Was it cold enough that free tickets to an indoor event suddenly became attractive to people who wouldn't normally care about 3-on-3 basketball? These are legitimate questions.
Said it. He said, what are the ratings going to look like? Because the 20,000 that normally watches was in a stadium somewhere. How cold was it in Philly? Did some people take some free tickets to get in and out the snow? Question mark. Was it snowing? Was it cold? Just pointing some stuff out. I'm just here talking out loud amongst all of us friends.
The ratings tell a different story than the attendance. Unrivaled's television viewership has been hovering around 20,000 viewers per game. 20,000 watching on TV, while 21,000 supposedly showed up in person. That ratio doesn't make sense for a league trying to build sustainable interest. If you can get 21,000 people in seats, you should be pulling at least 50 to 70,000 viewers on television. The math isn't mathing.
That broke the women's attendance. Oh, shit. It's a bad idea. You went out there running your mouth. It was a bad idea. Because you got checked. Somebody checked your head right off your neck. Right out of the gate. J-Mac. Oh, you mean this 55,000 right here? With Caitlin Clark?
But then someone made a critical mistake. They decided to bring Caitlin Clark into the conversation. I know the CC fans aren't the ones that broke the women's attendance record. That's the tweet that started the avalanche. Because Caitlin Clark fans don't just show up with opinion. They show up with documentation, timestamps, and verified attendance figures that turn social media arguments into public executions.
Somebody told me that. Actually, it was CC fans who broke the record, and Unrivaled ain't even close. Uh-oh. That time they booked a football stadium so more people could watch Caitlin Clark live. Over 55,000 fans showed up. Oh, you done called the fans out now. That right there, this is the University of Iowa. Heard of it? The Hawkeyes, they literally put a basketball game in the football stadium. That's what they did. They told Kurt Ferentz and whichever future NFL tight end on the team, y'all gonna have to get off the field. Y'all gonna have to get off the field because Caitlin Clark's gonna play.
February 20th, 2024. The University of Iowa moved a women's college basketball game to Kinnick Stadium, their outdoor football stadium. 55,046 fans showed up in February in Iowa, outdoors, to watch Caitlin Clark and the Hawkeyes play. That's not a corporate giveaway. That's not bulk ticket purchases to inflate numbers. That's 55,000 people who paid money, braved the cold, and sat in a football stadium to watch college basketball. The previous NCAA women's basketball attendance record was 29,619. Caitlin Clark nearly doubled it in one game at the college level, and suddenly, Unrivaled's 21,000 doesn't look quite so impressive anymore.
The Iowa Hawkeyes played a historic women's college basketball game, in an outdoor football stadium when more than 55,000 fans showed up, nearly doubling the NC2A's former single-game attendance record. Yeah. Boy, do not call out Caitlin Clark. Don't do it, because you're going to get on. Wow, Caitlin Clark living rent-free. Caitlin Clark's popping tents in these people's heads and chilling out, cooking some barbecue on the grill.
The response on social media was immediate and brutal. Oh, you mean this 55,000 right here with Caitlin Clark? It was one game, not two. Because Unrivaled's 21,000 was for a doubleheader, 2 games, multiple teams, the full promotional push, and they still couldn't match what one college player drew to an outdoor stadium in the middle of winter. Another response cut even deeper. Actually, it was CC fans who broke the record, and Unrivaled ain't even close. That time they booked a football stadium so more people could watch Caitlin Clark live. Over 55,000 fans showed up. The contrast is devastating. One event required moving a game to a football stadium because they knew demand would exceed arena capacity. The other is celebrating an attendance figure that raises more questions than it answers.
Some might call that living there. Here we go. How about this? Let me just turn that down because I don't want to copyright strike. But this is Caitlin Clark right here, and the gals running out on the field for this game right here. Oh no, not a packed house, not a packed house for a college game. Unrivaled. I mean, I'm willing to bet you money people paid up for those tickets, by the way.
Here's what makes the Iowa attendance even more significant. Those tickets sold out. People paid premium prices. The university didn't need to give away blocks of seats to corporations or celebrities to fill the stadium. The demand was organic, measurable, and undeniable. When you have genuine fan interest, you don't need creative accounting to make your attendance numbers look impressive. Compare that to what we're seeing with Unrivaled. A league that's struggling to maintain television viewership in the 20,000 range suddenly packs 21,000 into an arena. The optics look good for one news cycle, but the underlying metrics tell a different story about sustainable fan engagement.
Yeah. See, it's stuff like this. Random person makes false statement. Caitlin Clark fan base corrects random person. Random person. Oh my God, that fan base is so racist and bad for women's sports. For speaking the truth. Caitlin Clark had 55,000 at Iowa. Shut the bleep up. I mean, there you go. There you go. By the way, I think this particular person, I believe, let's look. I can't tell. Is this? Oh.
The frustration from Caitlin Clark's fan base isn't just about defending their favorite player. It's about watching a consistent pattern where her accomplishments get minimized, while others get artificially inflated. Caitlin Clark drew 55,000 fans to an outdoor football stadium in February. That's a fact. That's documented. That's verifiable. And yet somehow, the narrative keeps trying to position other events and other players as the real drivers of women's basketball growth. When someone tried to claim Unrivaled set the attendance record, the response wasn't just defensive, it was corrective. Sorry, but you still didn't beat Caitlin Clark's record for highest attendance for a women's basketball game. That's not opinion. That's just accurate information being presented to counter a false claim.
Fan page, I think, is what we had got. We got a Paige Becker's, yeah. So, on X, at Rhodes Rants, that's me. Go follow me on the Twitter X. By the way, and I tagged the Indiana Fever, the Colts, Lucas Oil Stadium. I even tagged Pat McAfee because he can get some stuff done. Get Caitlin Clark in Lucas Oil Stadium and see what happens. Yeah. Get her in the Indiana Fever.
And this is where the social media dynamics get interesting. One person makes a false statement about attendance records. Caitlin Clark fans provide documented evidence proving the statement is incorrect. And somehow, the fans become the problem. Oh my God, that fan base is so racist and bad for women's sports for speaking the truth. Speaking the truth. That's the crime here. Providing accurate attendance figures with dates and venues is now considered toxic behavior. The pattern repeats constantly. Caitlin Clark accomplishes something measurable and historic. Someone tries to diminish it or claim someone else did it better. The fans provide receipts, and then the fans get labeled as the problem for not accepting false narratives.
Play a game. Go over, retweet this. See how loud you can get. Caitlin Clark be like that girl that was in the doctor went viral. Dr. Phil, catch me outside. How about that? Catch me outside. How about that? Catch me at Lucas Oil. How about that? Catch me at Iowa. How about that?
There's a broader business question here that Unrivaled needs to answer. If you're building a sustainable professional league, you need genuine fan demand, not one-time attendance spikes driven by corporate ticket purchases and promotional giveaways. Television ratings matter. Merchandise sales matter. Season ticket commitments matter. All of those metrics indicate whether people are actually invested in your product or just showing up for a free event. Unrivaled's television ratings have been concerning. 20,000 viewers for a league that's supposed to be revolutionizing women's basketball. That's not a sustainable audience. That's not the kind of viewership that justifies the player salaries and production costs. And when your TV audience is roughly the same size as your one-time attendance figure, that tells you the in-person crowd wasn't driven by passionate fans who couldn't wait to watch on television.
Taking victory laps over some tickets they probably done gave away outside to some homeless folks to get in out the cold. See, I've been around long enough to know how this works. Hey y'all, don't try to bullshit a bullshitter. Tell me what you think. Peace, I'm out. Till next time.
Here's what makes this entire situation so perfectly ironic. Caitlin Clark isn't even playing in Unrivaled. She declined to participate in that 3-on-3 league, and yet her name and her attendance records are still dominating the conversation. Even when she's not on the court, even when she's taking time off, she's still the measuring stick that everyone else gets compared to. That's not manufactured hype. That's genuine cultural impact. The comment says it perfectly. Well, yeah, she's not playing in that ratchet league, that 3x3 league, that is literally hanging on by a thread. Harsh? Maybe. But when your television ratings are struggling and you're celebrating attendance figures that don't align with your viewership numbers, those questions become valid.
Subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.
So here's the reality check that Unrivaled and its supporters need to hear. Caitlin Clark drew 55,000 fans to an outdoor stadium in Iowa in February 20. That's the attendance record for women's basketball, not 21,000 at an indoor arena in Philadelphia. With questionable ticket distribution, 55,000 people who paid to watch one player compete at the college level until someone puts more than 55,000 fans in seats for a women's basketball game. Caitlin Clark owns that record. And trying to claim otherwise just exposes how desperate some people are to minimize her impact on the sport. The fans aren't being toxic for pointing this out. They're being accurate. There's a difference. And here's what should concern Unrivaled's leadership. When your big attendance moment becomes a punchline because people immediately started questioning how those tickets got distributed, you've got a credibility problem. When your television ratings don't match your attendance claims, you've got a sustainability problem. And when Caitlin Clark fans can dismantle your narrative in under 60 seconds with publicly available attendance records, you've got a reality problem. The comparison isn't even close. 55,000 outdoor fans in Iowa versus 21,000 indoor fans in Philadelphia with corporate ticket purchases. One represents genuine demand. The other represents promotional creativity. And the fans who actually follow this sport closely enough to know the difference aren't going to let false narratives go unchallenged. This isn't about tearing down Unrivaled, it's about maintaining accurate standards for what constitutes success in women's basketball. If we start celebrating inflated attendance figures and ignoring television ratings, we're not building sustainable growth. We're building a house of cards that collapses the moment the promotional gimmicks stop working. Caitlin Clark set the standard. 55,000 fans, outdoor stadium, February, in Iowa. That's the number to beat. And until someone actually beats it with legitimate ticket sales and organic fan demand, the victory laps over 21,000 fans in Philadelphia just look desperate. So what do you think? Is Unrivaled's attendance figure legitimate? Or are the skeptics right to question how those tickets got distributed? And more importantly, when does women's basketball media start holding everyone to the same standards they apply to Caitlin Clark? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and let's keep this conversation going. Because if we're going to grow this sport the right way, we need to be honest about what real success actually looks like.